Hi, today we're going to go over deploying secRMM using System Center Configuration Manager 2012, and we're going to use a new feature in SCCM 2012 called Application Deployment. And just to keep this video to a reasonable length, I already went ahead and defined the secRMM application. But I will tell you a couple things I want to point out is I ended up using global conditions because secRMM is a true 64-bit app and it's also a 32-bit. So I searched around on the internet and found some pretty good answers about creating global conditions for a 64 and a 32-bit install. Let me just show you what it ends up looking like. You'll want to specify these values exactly as I have them typed out here and pay particular attention to this value. So it's going to be identical for the 32-bit, but that value will change. And again, just search on the internet for like global conditions SCCM x64 and you'll get the answers here. But here we created a 32-bit. So when we define the application, we're going to attach these two conditions, and the SCCM client will know which one to pull down based on whether it's 64 or 32-bit. The other thing that I found a little confusing was when you use the wizard to create your first application, when you go through this create application, it's only going to prompt you for one MSI. So what you have to do is you can walk through the wizard and then you have to come back in here and come to deployment types and then you add the second one. So like I define the 64-bit one first, and again it's asking you for the MSI and it pretty much plugs in all the values. Again, one thing I want to point out, the wizard forces you to do this, but make sure you use a network share versus the local file system when you go to do this. So again, make sure you use a share. And you can see none of this I had to type in. SCCM pretty much did the whole thing for me just by passing the MSI file to it. Here in the requirements section, make sure you associate your global conditions. So you can see, because I just told you this was the 64-bit MSI, I attached this OS architecture x64 equals 64-bit. And again, it forces you to put that value in. So you can see it's got to look like this. So it's a custom category because we created it manually. That was the name we gave it. And again, that's just some meaningful name. It could be any value. Make sure this says value, this says equals, and then this says 64-bit. Okay, and then you're good to go. So just to show you quick, we'll look at the same thing here. We're going to the same share again because on my share locally here, I have both MSI files in the same folder. So this is shared out to be this value, right? The name of this box is SCCMR2, and my share name was secRMM. And so there's the two MSIs, okay. Right, so again, this was all plugged in. You don't have to do anything here. Everything gets plugged in for you. Same here. Really nothing to change here. I mean, if you have particulars for your environment, that's cool, but make sure you come in here and do this. Do not forget this. So again, remember this time we're doing a 32-bit, okay? And then, again, all this is plugged in. So I defined it because we don't want this video to be so long you're just going to not watch it, but use the wizard the first time, plug in your 64-bit, and then come back in here and add your 32-bit. All right, and then so now we're ready to go, and you see deployment 0. So once you've created the application, then we're going to go ahead and deploy it. And the way I deployed it is I'm going to associate it with a collection, because the collection has an associated distribution point, and that's one way to do it. I know that there's a million ways to skin the cat in SCCM, but I'm going to take my simple, this is just a little lab environment, and I'm going to say associate my systems. Okay, and then I want to click this. And again, you might have multiple distribution points, and so this video, may not be identical, but what we're saying here is go look at the collection and get the distribution point that this collection, meaning all systems, and get the MSIs pushed out to that. So when we go next, you can see it already plugged it in here. So if I didn't do this, then when I came to this tab, I would have had to select a distribution point. And see, you could see this is what I have associated there. And then for secRMM, we want to install it, right? And we want to make it required, because it's something you want on all your workstations and servers to protect, data loss. Okay, so next. All right, and we're going to do this demo live. So let's make sure we get this. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, so it's actually 4:16 now. And again, this is just for a demo. You may want to deploy it at a later date. I know there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of different variables in SCCM, so this may or may not match your environment, but I want to show you this in real time. Let's leave this on. And when the installation deadline is reached, allow the following activities to be performed. We'll allow the software to install. This has something to do with Windows embedded devices that, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't really investigated. Okay, and this is all saying things that we can do with the alert, but let's just plow through this. Again, already this may be getting a little long. Okay, so we have the deployment, and you can see that down here we don't have anything going yet. So I have a workstation here, and I'm going to go onto my workstation, and this is just the configuration manager console that you see in the control panel. So if you're looking for where this is, go into the control panel system, see them down here, configuration manager. And then the nice thing is in SCCM 2012, they give you the ability to pull some things down. So if we say run now, we'll go ahead and run this real quick. Okay, and I paused the video, but in the short time that the video was paused, from now till I just started again, you can see that the software got installed. Okay, and so the installation status is installed. And if we wanted to verify the install, of course, we can just come in here and look for the secRMM event log. That's number one. Of course, you can, if you're the administrator, now you can come to computer management, and you can see the secRMM properties dialog. So it happened all very quick for us because I was doing it in real time, and I forced the application deployment evaluation cycle. But I will just say a couple recommendations before I sign out here is when I first started figuring out applications, I had to understand that the distribution point was tied to the collections. Keep in mind that may not be your scenario. If it's not and you need help, of course, I always call Squadra Technologies for technical support. The other thing is the global conditions. So that's a short video on how to deploy secRMM using Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager 2012. Thank you very much and have a good day.